Okay, here we are, as usual, on our English Thursday. And today we have a guest that has never been with us. Welcome, Lucy.
Hello, hi, nice
How
to
are
be here.
you?
I'm fine, thank you. Thanks so much for
Great.
having me.
Oh, thank you so much for being with us. I'm so interested in your topic. I can't wait to talk
Okay,
about it.
I'm interested
So,
in it too.
yeah, great. That's the best. That's why your course came out so great.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, for everyone who is listening,
Mm-hmm.
Lucy is an English teacher,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
Lucy, do you want to introduce yourself? Do you
Sure,
want to?
sure.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So I'm an English teacher. I teach all ages, actually. I teach everything from nursery school to straight through to university level and in businesses as well. And in my work, it's happened that I also teach CLIL classes. Actually, that's a growing part of my job. So let's say I've been teaching off and on for almost 30 years. I say off and on because sometimes I leave the teaching business and I come back to it. But let's say that there's always some sort of training or teaching aspect to my work, to the work that I've done in the past. So right now, I'm pretty much focused on teaching English.
Great. And so your course
Mm-hmm.
is a course about introducing CLIL in primary
Mm-hmm.
school.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? It's a
Yes,
self-paced paced course, so it's recorded and students can access it anytime.
exactly.
And but what I want to know is what what was it about this topic that made you decide to invest in it? So both to train yourself and then after to help other teachers.
Okay, well, the course was actually originally intended to be taught or to be taken in person. So, and then what happened was we were supposed to start, and because of the global health situation, we weren't able to do that. But hopefully, we're going to get this going soon. I believe there's a course that starts up in May. And so we decided to create this self-paced course as an introduction to it, because obviously there are a lot of activities that are really great to do in person when you have other teachers in the same room and you can get feedback off each other and do practical exercises together. But in any case, this self-paced course was sort of, let's say it's an introduction to the topic. And the reason that I decided that I proposed it is I saw a real need for it. I'll just give you a little bit of background. So just as a teacher, when I originally started teaching, I was teaching adults and older teens. And the first time it happened that I had to teach an elementary school class, it was a very young learner group, first or second grade. And for those of you out there who have been in that situation, you'll know that it's a completely different ball game. And you really have to have a different set of skills. You really have to approach it from a different angle. And in one of those early experiences, I was expected to do a couple of hours of CLIL on top of what I was doing, and I thought, well, how am I going to teach? I don't remember what the topic was at the time. I don't know if it was art or geography. Geography to 24 students who don't understand basically a word of what I'm saying because they really had absolutely a very limited knowledge of English.
Of course.
And what came out of that experience was I saw that this was a really fantastic opportunity for kids to pick up English and at the same time you just learn the topic that they were supposed to be learning. But there's this huge opportunity to sort of blend the two things together, which is what CLIL is all about, and have each area of learning enhance the other. And but what also emerged from that was that it was almost impossible to find any material at all on teaching CLIL specifically to very young learners.
Primary school.
So I saw this need, And just based on my experience in these past few years, I put together some ideas, and here we are. Also because, as we all know, there's this emphasis now on 21st century skills, especially here in Europe, on multilingualism, multiculturalism, and we have to really be preparing students to meet those international standards, right?
Of course.
Mm. I
Nice.
don't know. What do you think about that? I just find that the world is getting smaller and smaller, and now we
Definitely.
really have to.
I think that unfortunately, at least in Italy, a lot of teachers, a lot of English teachers had very bad experiences with CLIL because sometimes it's been forced on them with very little instruments to actually do it the right way. And it's only been like this top to bottom instructions, like, okay, so from next year we have to do this number of hours of CLIL, and that's it.
Exactly.
And if you just throw this bomb on teachers, so a lot of Italian teachers like are instinctively want to reject it, but I do think that it's definitely an incredible opportunity and probably the only tool that we have to try to make classroom learning more similar to natural language learning, which is then
Exactly.
what we're looking for, because we know that that's where the long-term knowledge and really absorbing that knowledge, and not just I'm memorizing a list of words for the text, but because
Exactly.
I'm experiencing the language, it will then stick with me.
Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, getting back to your point about teachers being thrown into this, in fact, that was my personal experience as well, and that's what a lot of teachers are experiencing, because this is now pretty much a requirement in a lot of schools.
Yes.
But you have sort of, in fact, I kind of addressed this in the self-paced course. You have 2 or 3 different situations that present themselves sometimes. So you have teachers whose main focus is teaching a curricular subject, and they are called upon to then also do a CLIL class. Or you have teachers whose main focus is teaching a second language, and they are also called upon to teach a CLIL class, but they might have little or no experience in teaching that
That
curricular
subject.
subject.
Yep.
Okay, so at one point I was asked to teach technology, which, not being, I'm Italian Canadian. So for me, technology is like computers, but technology here in the school system is actually something a little bit different.
Yes.
And I'm like, I don't really know enough about technology to be teaching it to anybody.
Yes, it's quite different.
And then you have a third situation that presents itself, which I have also been in, where this outside person, okay, who maybe is the person who comes in to do extra English, is called upon to teach a CLIL class. And that person might have a very limited skills as well in teaching curricular subjects to small children. And so these are all different scenarios, and they each have their own needs, right? And there's their own skill set that they can bring to the table. And in an ideal world, we would have a combination of all three. But there are teachers who do find themselves in a situation in which they have to teach something that they don't feel comfortable teaching, either because it's a curricular subject they don't know, or a language that they don't feel that maybe
confident
they're
enough.
necessarily expert in.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious with you. So you worked in primary schools, and let's say before you maybe came across this methodology and apparently fell in love with it, but before that, like, what do you feel it's the greatest weakness in how we approach language teaching and language learning in primary schools now?
Well, I think first of all, it really depends on what country you happen to be listening from, because there's this incredible range out there of what different countries are doing and different types of schools. So private schools and public schools. There's this huge disparity really in what's going on. But just speaking to what I know well, the Italian school system, which is very similar to, because, you know, I'm kind of like prehistoric, kind of Neanderthal in terms of my age. And so it's actually very similar to my experience with language learning growing up in Canada, where, you know, if you attended an English school as I did, then you have to learn French. And if you attend a French school, you have to learn English. And the experience was very similar. So I just find that at the moment in most schools, and there are a lot of different realities out there, there is still an emphasis on book learning. There's still an emphasis on teacher-led discussion, teacher-led conversation, on the teacher asking questions and students answering questions in the first person. So in terms of language learning, I really think there's some room for, it kind of needs to evolve into something that's a little bit more natural. Because as we know, in the real world, it's not just people asking you a question and you answering, it's you asking other people questions too, et cetera. And also going back to the topic of 21st century skills, I think we really need to address what the working world needs. Now, I know that when we're talking about primary school, it's a little bit early to be talking about what the working world needs, but the fact is that it's a step-by-step process, right? So we're preparing people, we're preparing kids. And since I teach all levels, I see that there are adults out there, university students out there, who don't know the simple functions that are necessary in day-to-day life. You know, so if I say to you, oh, hi, nice to meet you, you have to respond in some way. You have to say something. And it has to be some kind of polite response, you know. So realistic situations, and going back to 21st century skills, the working world now is expecting people to be able to work well in groups, to be able to work on projects. And in a lot of primary schools, and even throughout middle school and high school, the emphasis is still on individual work, and not a lot of focus on project work and teamwork, which are really important. So I think language learning is actually a really good opportunity, because language learning lends itself well to those things, to introduce that. And CLIL is a perfect example where you can introduce those things as well.
And what do you feel are the biggest benefits in introducing CLIL compared to a traditional language learning setting in school?
Well, the benefits are that one thing I've noticed is that if you're teaching, if your CLIL lesson is successful, the kids, it's amazing. It's like some sort of miracle. Oh, they don't realize that they are doing this in a foreign language. It's like, it's a miracle. They don't really realize that we're not speaking Italian. And I think, really, so some kids don't like language learning. I mean, everybody has their taste, right? Some kids don't like math. Some kids don't like geography. CLIL is an opportunity to sort of blend things together and make it, so I always say it's like killing two birds with one stone. Two for the price of one.
Two for the price of one.
Really, you're complementing, the skills complement each other. And that is, I think, the greatest force of CLIL, is that you can gather and you can convince an audience that maybe is not as convinced. You can have them enjoy something that maybe they wouldn't otherwise enjoy. And you can just shake it up. You know, it's different from what they normally do. And that in itself is fun and interesting for kids.
Of course.
Yeah.
Nice. And so you have your course. Everyone, you can find the course Introducing CLIL in Primary School in the Europass. Wait, let me just post the link. So it's going to be that much easier.
Sure.
If our teachers that are listening are interested in attending the course. But what I wanted to ask you is, like, when you developed the course, did you have a precise idea in mind on, let's say, like, what you would like teachers to take away after attending your course?
I guess I planned the course quite selfishly in mind. I guess I planned it thinking back to what I wish I had known when I started teaching, doing CLIL. And mostly what I wish I had known is that, especially for CLIL, especially for language learning, you really have to be super clear in your instruction. Because if you're a curricular subject teacher, you're explaining things in your native language, and the kids can understand what you say. And if you're a language teacher, you maybe focus only on the kind of language that's within their comfort zone, and that's great. But if you're doing a CLIL class, you have to explain things that are maybe beyond their knowledge, but and that's why you have to be super clear. Everything, especially the younger they are, you have to be super clear in your instruction, in your explanation. Everything has to be clear. You have to go step by step, not rush things. And so I guess that is really what I would like them to take away, and to make it fun, because I think no matter what, if what they're doing is fun, they will learn more, they will enjoy it more, it will be a positive experience that will then, help in the future when they're doing anything that's similar.
Of course. Great. So I'm just going to answer. I have a few questions here now. If anyone has some questions for Lucy, this is your chance, because the question, hi Christina, hi Irina, hi Miriam, hi Sohail. And Miriam, you are asking about, so Miriam is interested in courses about CLIL methodology for primary and lower secondary school, but she doesn't know if she can include the online courses in her K1. Miriam, for this, your best bet is to contact Europass directly, and they will give you all the information, both if you can use that for online courses, which type of online courses, and I think if I heard right in the first part of our interview, I think Lucy is also having a live course about this methodology. And I'm sure that for live course, you can use what you've got. So get in touch with Europass, and they will be able to help you and to explain step by step how to use your funding for the best training experience possible. And we have France, Bulgaria, Portugal, Italy. We have people following from all over Europe.
Great! Wow. And that's the thing I love about unfortunately in the self-paced course, you don't really get to meet people, and it's such a stimulating environment when you actually have everyone together in one room. But that's okay, step by step.
We miss it so much. We can't wait to go back. I had a live course for the first time 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
And it was great. Even though all the teachers were from the same school, so they already knew each other. So it's different, but it still was a very refreshing experience to be actually in the classroom and being able to do some exercises. There are just some things that are really hard to transport online.
Yes, it's true.
There is also Antonio Labichino, who is prizing his best English teacher ever, Lucy Pasca.
Thank you.
We also have people from Greece. So it looks like a lot of people are following us and interested in this topic. As usual, we are going to say goodbye to Lucy now, and we're going to say goodbye to all of you. But as usual, the comment section will remain supervised for the next days. So if you're watching this video not live and you're watching in the next few days and you have some questions for Lucy, just put them on the comments and we will make sure to pass them on. And I'm sure Lucy will do her best to answer to your curiosity. So again, the course is introducing CLIL in primary school. You have the link right here under, and for any information, you can get in touch with Europass Teacher Academy directly. Lucy, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure for me.
And for me too. And I hope to see you soon at the school for our live
Oh,
courses.
great. Bye, Christina. Bye,
Bye,
bye, everybody.
Lucy.
Bye, bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.